Good morning. I hope you had a great Independence Day, 4th of July celebration, and you had fun and you were safe. You have all your fingers. That's an important thing. Listen, this morning, actually been a crazy last few days in Bitcoin. It's been a crazy month. Bitcoin hit about 73,600, 400, something like that, as its all-time high. And I'm going to be talking here about how you can take advantage of this big drop in Bitcoin, and I'll tell you why it's happening. Bitcoin has been dropping like crazy. So it was up to like 73, 74,000, something like that. And now this morning it hit 54,000 for the first time. It's the biggest drop in like 120 days. And so for the first time in 120 days, it hit 54,000 just for a little bit. Maybe it'll stay there, maybe it'll go lower. I don't know. The bottom line is one Bitcoin still equals one Bitcoin, right? You can compare it to the dollar, but the dollar is a declining denominator, right? So over time, the dollar is declining in value. The euro is declining in value. The yen, especially lately, is declining in value. The only thing that's holding value is property, right? And Bitcoin is digital property. Gold is digital property, or gold is property. Real estate is property. Property is holding its value, right? Assets are holding their value. But anything that's denominated in the dollar is actually losing value. That's why you see houses going up. I know that doesn't make sense. Houses are going up. They're not going up in value. They're still the same house, but they're denominated in dollars. If they were denominated in Bitcoin, you would see a deflationary move going on in houses. And in other words, it would take fewer Bitcoin to buy a house than it would, say, 5 years ago, right? Now it takes about 5 Bitcoin to buy a house, maybe 7 or 8 today. But 10 years ago, it took a couple hundred Bitcoin to buy a house. So the denominator is declining. You know that there's no printing of Bitcoin after the 21 million. That's the maximum amount that it could print. But the dollar could print unlimited, the euro unlimited, the yen unlimited, the Chinese yuan unlimited. So they're decaying the value of those underlying assets. Okay, so what's going on today? Well, Bitcoin is dropping like a rock, right? And here's why. There's two reasons why. Number one, there was this exchange called Mt. Gox. It was a Japanese-based exchange or something like that, like 10 years ago. And somebody hacked into this was pretty early exchange. Somebody hacked into it and stole all the Bitcoin out of it. And so those people have been trying to get their Bitcoin back. And now they're getting their Bitcoin back. The cool thing is for them, they're getting it back, and it's now worth like 100 times more than it was worth 10 years ago. So what do you think they're going to do? They're all of a sudden getting rich. They've been waiting. They might have not even held this thing during the 10 years, as it's gone up. But now they're going to get it back personally. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to sell half or most of it or some of it for sure. And so that's a pressure on the market. You got a lot more sellers and a lot more supply. That's going to put some pressure short term on the market. That's number one. Number two, stupidly, the country of Germany said, hey, we got a bunch of Bitcoin here, and they're having such problems with their economy because of the Russian war and because of the bet that they made with respect to relying on Russia for all their energy. Their economy is just tanking. So probably because they need money, they're selling their stash of Bitcoin, right? The government is selling the stash of Bitcoin. Okay, that's fine. But they're stupid. And they came out and said, we're selling our stash of Bitcoin. Well, what do you think that does to the market? All the people that know that they have this stash of Bitcoin that they're going to sell know that it's going to drive the price down. So they're shorting it or they're selling it, getting out. Either way, it's deflationary. It declines. It puts pressure, I should say, on the price of Bitcoin denominated in anything. And so that's what you see. Those two pressures going on right now. And I don't know exactly when they hit the exchanges, and things are just being moved around by big whales, they're called, and they're put on exchanges so that they can be liquidated. And so that's putting pressure on the market. Now, I don't know how far it's going to go. I don't try to predict the price of Bitcoin. It's a fool's game to, when people say, oh, it's going to go to 100,000, it's going to go to 1 million. Yeah, I believe that, over time, in 5 years, it'll be worth 500,000 to $1 million if you want to denominate it that way, because we're just printing money and sending it overseas and doing stupid things with our own money. And so we're not investing it in real things. We're just blowing it. And so that dollar decline is going to decrease. We're not putting it in things that are going to make our economy grow. We're just sending it places and wasting money. So what ends up happening is, over time, you're going to get an increase per dollar, per euro, per yen in the value, in the price of Bitcoin. It's not happening right now. This is viewed by a lot of people in my Bitcoin circles as an opportunity to buy. So how can you take advantage of it? Because maybe you don't know how to buy Bitcoin. Well, you could certainly go and find some of the Bitcoin ETFs if you want. The problem is Those are held on an exchange. They're held on Coinbase. And if something happens to that exchange, like happened to Mt. Gox 10 years ago, it's a different world now, but it could happen, then you're in trouble. You don't have custody of your own Bitcoin, which is really the important thing. You should have custody of your own Bitcoin if you can. So here's how you play it without having to worry about whether you have custody or not. You can play it with a proxy in a stock called MicroStrategy. Now, Michael Saylor is one of the largest proponents and owners of Bitcoin in the world, and he's the CEO of MicroStrategy. The symbol is MSTR, put on the screen here. MicroStrategy is going to open down this morning, probably around $1,200. And to me, that shows kind of it's a mental support level for me. Could it go lower? Sure. But MicroStrategy is accumulating so much Bitcoin that if they're right about what they think is happening with Bitcoin, companies are adopting it, nations are adopting it, more people are adopting it. I was trading MicroStrategy when it was 100 and it went up to 2,000. So anyway, MicroStrategy is one way to play covered calls, possibly on MSTR. What I would do is I would buy MicroStrategy a little bit at a time and maybe just sell against it with some covered calls. So that's one way I would play it. Number two, there's a company called Mara, M-A-R-A. It's Marathon Digital. They're a Bitcoin mining company. They actually have a pretty decent looking chart. The stock is around $21. It's probably going to open a little bit lower here in a few minutes. So that's another way to play it. But that's pretty risky. Like to me, anything under $100 is riskier than something over $100 like MicroStrategy. The third way is Coinbase, which is the exchange that holds all of these ETFs like BlackRock and ARK Strategies and ARK Innovation or ARK Bitcoin Fund, whatever it is. They're holding the Bitcoin. Okay, so they're getting the value of the transaction fees going in and out of Bitcoin. So that might be a bullish play here in this situation. What I would do is I would buy the stock a little bit at a time and I would sell calls against it. Again, that's probably the safest way. With the volatility in Bitcoin, there's going to be a lot of juice being paid. And you can make a lot of money by just kind of hedging your bet. This could go down further. I mean, we could get a lot of selling and it could go down further. It could very easily happen. It also could very easily bounce from here as people say, well, you know what? This is a great value on Bitcoin. I didn't think it would be ever be under 55,000. And here it is under 55,000 or 56 or under 60,000. And they're going to be looking at it as an opportunity. So in fact, there's one person out there that said, I'll take all your Bitcoin, Germany. Just send it to me. I'll take it all. That way we'll preserve the markets from declining. So there are bidders out there buying Bitcoin. These are opportunities for you to take advantage of. I hope that helps, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.